Boss, I'm so interested to hear about this bike ride because you kind of got on your bike and went in one direction and didn't stop for a while.
Ah, you mean when I was just following the wind and wherever it led me?
Yeah, I mean, it's cool as hell. And I want to know why. I want to know where you went. I want to know how you got, well, we know how you got there. You kept pushing the pedals, but why?
Yeah.
Why just follow the wind?
I've been traveling pretty much the whole year, so I love traveling. I think I can be very happy that my profession partly is traveling, but at some point I just wanted to have it easy. Traveling also requires a lot of planning, like you have to stick to timings, so it can be a little bit exhausting as well. So I wanted to do something and experience nature, but without having to plan too much. So I let the wind plan my journey.
So you literally just followed the wind.
Yes,
That is fucking epic, man. So whatever direction it went, you just went in that direction on the
exactly.
bike.
So yeah, every morning I checked, okay, where are we going? And then northwest, that's the direction I went.
That is brilliant. And where did you end up? When did you turn around?
So I ended up in the Pyrenees pretty fast from Girona.
Mm.
Um, and after the Pyrenees, went over um to France. And then in France, I've done a little bit of zigzag, but that's just the way if you follow the wind. Yeah, I was very surprised that I ended up like in Andorra next day already, and then another country, France. It was cool.
Where was the destination? What was the end point? And what made you decide, okay, the wind's keeping me going. It's time to stop following it and it's time to go home.
Our appointments. I would have gone
Uh,
forever.
yeah,
I know.
fucking life getting in the way, right?
Exactly, yeah. So ended up in Toulouse.
Oh wow. How far is that in total? How far did you
Um
cycle?
I don't actually know. I never did the math. I think wait, let me check on Strava actually how far I went. Maybe like around 800 kilometer.
Jesus Christ. We have the Eurostar,
Yeah,
joking. No,
one day.
reason why I ask is I think we're innately built like this, right? I think that's what we're supposed to do, or at least, one day in the past, this is what we were supposed to do. Either follow the sun, follow the stars, follow the wind, follow the seasons.
Yeah,
We are quite
I think so,
nomadic as
right.
creatures, right? And we have created this urban jungle in the search for security, right? We've
Yeah, so
created
true.
these cities to be like, yep, we're better here, we're better in packs. I'm like, yeah, maybe, like way back when, but now I think we're a little bit better extracted from that, into smaller communities and where we can just get on a bike. I know it's a bit of an extreme example, but get on a bike and
Yeah.
cycle 800 Ks.
Yeah, I also feel like in society sometimes we don't see like what's obvious.
Yeah.
Before I came here to record your podcast with you, I went on a run and I was nervous I would miss the time and I'd be too late. So I was like, oh, I have to check the time on my phone. But then I was watching the sunset. So I know what time the sunset is. So I was like, hey, why do I keep on watching my phone? I know if the sun goes down, I'll have around half an hour until we got the podcast. But I was stressing so much about the timing. So I think sometimes we lose connection to where we live a little bit or what life is like if you have to figure it out on your own.
Now that's a profound statement. I don't think many people will be able to get through it, to be honest. I think quite regularly about what happens if we just snapped our fingers and all electricity and technology just kind of stopped working.
Well,
Global
we wouldn't be
cataclysm.
talking for sure.
Well, yeah, that's for sure. But whatever caused it, it just stopped working. What would people do? And I think a lot of people would shit in their own hands and clap. It's like,
Yeah,
well, what do we do now? So I would find it was a sense of freedom.
yeah. The only music would be guitars, probably.
Mm.
Um,
So what did you learn on
that's
that
so
journey?
deep. On my journey on the bike.
Yeah, what did you learn?
So going out on adventures for me is the purest freedom you can get in your life because you focus on the simple things because you have to go from A to B. You have X many hours of daylight. You have to eat food. You have to find a place to sleep. And this is everything that I worry about on those adventure bike rides. So this is why I feel so free to do it. And this is one of the only moments in life where I feel truly released of all my everyday stress
Yeah,
because I have to focus on the simple tasks ahead of me.
I completely feel that. I really do. I feel like over the years I've done some dumb things for charity. You do some weird, you know, events that kind of push you to the brink, but the outside of the charity realm and raising money for it and awareness and all that type of stuff, like people ask, "What? Why do you do this shit?" And I was like, "Well, to be honest, it's like a source of meditation because everything
Yeah,
else gets dropped. And it doesn't matter about whether the postman came with the letter that you've been waiting for 2 weeks. It doesn't matter about, you want to go get a pizza or, you got stress at work or you're having a fight with somebody. It really doesn't matter. You've got to put one foot in front of the other, one arm in front of the other. You got to get from A to B. You got to get some fuel in you so you don't bloody bunk. And then you got to put your head down at the end of the day.
yeah. There's a
And
difference between riding your bike when you are doing adventures or when you're doing your local loop. So when I'm
yeah,
doing my local loop around Girona, I use cycling to process things,
yeah, yeah,
to think things through, to like get to know myself better, to figure out life a little bit at least sometimes.
yeah, yeah.
This is what I use my bike rides for here. And adventures are to do the exact opposite, like to not think.
Mm. What do you think it is? Do you think we're able to tap into like a different realm or a different part of us through physical exertion? Or do you think people like you and I are just fucking mental?
Hmm. Probably a healthy mix of both. But like, I don't actually think I'm that extreme. Like, I think for me, it feels very normal what I do. Like,
Yeah.
if I ride 800 kilometer in a week, for me, that doesn't feel much.
Well, now it doesn't feel
Yeah,
much. I
yeah, now
bet
it doesn't feel much.
I bet back in the
And
day when you
yeah,
first got on a bike, like I was like, right, you're gonna cycle 800 Ks in the week, you'd look at me like I'm crazy.
I would have never thought I would even be a cyclist. I always thought cyclists are weird. These guys and like, like why do
These
they
guys in
cycle up
Lycra.
hills and think it's joyful? I don't know. I could never understand it. And here I am,
Yeah.
obsessed with bikes.
Wear a proper t-shirt, will you?
Yeah.
Oh dear. Wow. It definitely is
Yeah.
true though. I'm fascinated by it. Like I'm fascinated by the interaction of us and physical adversity and it exposing us to us. You to you, me to me. You actually look up and you see a mirror, and that mirror's got your face staring back at you. And I think that's really apparent through physical activity, whether it's your 1 hour bloody spin class or hot yoga, or if it's 800 Ks in the bloody European mountains, just kind of cycling along doing your thing. You know, I do think I do think we're exposed to ourselves, and it kind of
Yes.
like, you know, the mind can play tricks on you. It gathers all this information and sifts through what could be a stressor or not. And seems like with the modern world, because there's so much stimuli out there, right? Especially online,
Yes.
there's so much going on. We kind of hoard all this junk and store it in our heads, or at least try to. It's like, no, 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 no.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
if you've got to go for a run or a cycle or lift a weight or, you know, do a hot yoga or whatever it is, go for a swim, all that doesn't really matter because this activity will break you if you let it. So you have to keep going and you drop everything else and you're forced to hone in on the things that actually matter. And I think it's a sense of cleansing in a way.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. It's actually it's sad that we're so used to being overwhelmed the whole time that we start to accept this as our new reality. Like it's
Yeah.
actually not normal to be constantly tired or like constantly overwhelmed. So, and I feel like going on a bike ride, on a run, physical activity helps me to escape this life for a little bit.
Yeah.
And
100%.
I've seen the most beautiful things being out on my bike. Like the speed of traveling is just perfect to experience so much. If I'm if I'm walking, I can go, um, I just can't go as far as I can go on my bike. And like the speed is good in a way that I can still see everything. So it's slow enough to appreciate the beauty and fast enough to see a lot of beauty.
Mhm.
That's why I always like doing the bike adventures. And I think I've been thinking about going hiking and doing something different, but I just love the way that cycling allows me to see the world so much. I think it can't compare with anything else. Even though there's so many beautiful activities, but I found my true love on my bike.
Mm. Where are you going to cycle to next?
Um, I have planned a trip to Asia. So I'm very, very excited. In February, um, I'm gonna go most likely to Thailand, but it's not confirmed yet. But I know I want to go to Asia because this is my plan for a long time, and I've never been there, and I'm just so curious how different it will be compared to like Europe or everywhere I've been before.
So I got to ask, are you going to fly or are you going to
Yes,
cycle to Thailand?
this time I'm gonna fly.
Are you sure?
But I've already yes, yes, yes. This time I'm gonna fly. Like when I cycled from Girona to Berlin, on my way back, I flew. I took a plane
Hmm.
and I could actually see like all the way that I've done by bike. I was like, oh wow, that felt so much longer on my bike. On the plane, it was just like 3 hours or something. And it took me more than 2 weeks on a bike.
Have you done the map? How long would it take if you
Yeah.
cycled from Spain to Thailand?
Oh my gosh, I should think about it. Wait, I can actually check that right now. All right, let me put
Because
train.
I only ask because you know when you get those types of friends and you basically get the wrong people that like each other and you put them in the
Hmm.
room and they come up with some dumb plan. Well,
I love those.
yeah, you come out with some horse shit, right? It's comical, but also, yeah, it's a little concerning. Well, we did the maths. If we cycle from New Zealand to the UK, we can do it in about a year.
Oh, how far is it?
What, New Zealand to the UK?
Yes.
As the crow flies, it's 12,000 miles.
Oh wow.
but you would have to get a ferry to Australia and then cycle
Mm,
the height of Australia and then a ferry over to Asia, and then kind of hop like that. But as soon as you get to kind of mainland Southeast Asia, you're good. You can just
yeah,
cycle all the way to, you can either go through Finland, up through the top of Russia and through Finland, and then down into Sweden and Norway, or you go across and you go through like Turkey, or you could go through Ukraine. But obviously, that's pretty cheap real estate as about now. So yeah, you get all the
yeah.
way to France and then get on the ferry.
So I've just looked up how far it'd be to ride to Chiang Mai in northern Thailand from where I am right now, Girona in Spain, and it's 12,000 kilometer and 65,000 meters of elevation. So quite a while.
And how long would that take?
So I've done 2,300 in a bit more than 2 weeks, but it was hard. We like averaged 155 per day,
Oh, Jesus
plus
Christ.
the luggage and the mountains were there as well. So quite some elevation on top. So I think realistically you could do 2,000 max in 2 weeks, but then it'll be a little bit hard. So yeah,
You're
like
looking about,
6, 7 weeks, but then it's really ambitious.
yeah, close to 3 months maybe,
Yeah.
with stopping
Yeah,
and
if you
rest
take it
days and
chill.
stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
That's not
I
that
think if
long
you
though.
take it chill, you're there in 2 months. Yeah, I just thought it doesn't actually sound that long.
I mean,
It's possible.
you did 2 weeks last time. You know, that's not that long.
Yeah, exactly. This is what I'm saying. Like this world is actually so small.
Yeah. Thinking of the stories you're gonna get along the way. I'm gonna get reference this bloody conversation. You're gonna go off the map and then be like, "Where the fuck's she gone?" Oh, it's your fault. You gave her the idea. She's cycling to Thailand. I'll be like, "Oh shit, sorry guys."
That's awesome.
Send me a picture when you get there, and I'll
Go
be
for
like, "Well
it.
done." And I'll go back. No, I
Huh.
always thought about it, mate. Like, when you get those things, and it's the longest road in the world goes from, I think it's Cape Town, or it's somewhere in southern South Africa, whether it's southwest, southeast. My memory kind of fades me, but it goes all the way up the east coast of Africa. It goes across the
Yeah.
Middle East, and then it ends up finding its way to Russia, and it goes to the northeastern point of Russia. Right, you can technically walk that distance if you really wanted to. Yeah,
Wow.
okay, you go through some war zones and stuff, but like regardless of all that, right? There is a road, and I always look at that map and I just think, how many stories would you have if you did that? How many
Yeah.
cool people would you meet, and how much culture would you be immersed in and learn, right? Like walking through fucking South Sudan, right? It was like, what do the Sudanese do? Learning it
Yeah.
and eating the food and walking the earth and smelling the air and like learning the little farming skills or whatever it is, right? Like maybe learning hello in 27 different languages. That's the way I go. That's where my brain goes, rather than like, oh no,
Yeah.
fuck it, I can just get on a plane. It's like, well, we're kind of missing the journey. I think life is supposed to be the
Yeah.
journey, right?
Totally. I also think I'm just gonna throw this out here. If your life is a constant adventure, you start being less excited about seeing something different. You want to see something that's even more different. You want to go further, farther. You always crave more.
Yeah.
Um, so I can already see that I'm like, oh, I just can't get enough of this planet.
Oh God, you're gonna cycle to Thailand.
I'm actually considering.
Oh man, honestly, like people are cool as shit, man. You
Oh
know,
yeah,
and
they're
the
amazing
world,
humans out here.
yeah, yeah, they really are. And the world is full of some beautiful things, man. You know, like I don't know, you're on your bike, you're on a walk, you're on a hike, even in the car, whatever. And you just kind of stop off and you walk off a little bit into the wilderness. You could be in bloody South America, you could be in Africa, you could be in Scotland. It doesn't matter. You could be in Asia, wherever. And you just kind of look around and there's so many like lessons we can learn from the uh, natural world rather than pursuing this modern world, right? And creating a different life form in the sense of technology and AI and all that stuff. Yeah, it's impressive and it's it could help humans, no problem. But I don't think we've
I
quite
agree.
learned everything from the natural world yet.
Yeah, it's funny. I completely agree with what you said, but then on the other side, I'm working as a content creator.
Yeah, yeah. And we're talking via the
I
internet.
hope that you guys are looking at my stuff and that you feel inspired doing stuff. Like go outside yourselves. But still, I want you to look at my adventures.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. It's a bit oxymoronic, right?
Oh,
It's a bit hypocritical.
I know, I know. But hey, I do actually want the right thing. I want you guys to go out and experience our planet.
Get off your phones.
Yeah,
We're not so much. You still watch my shit. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
I think yeah, I think it's finding peace where we're at, right?
Mm,
Like peace is a really strange concept for me. Never really understood what it was. Still kind of wrestling
yeah,
with it. But I think I'm honing in on my definition. And I think it's something with not being content, but not hurting in the place that we're in.
I think it's worry free. Peace means you're worry free.
Worry free. Here's another question.
Go for it.
What's home to you?
Wow. So I grew up in Germany and I spent my life in Germany until I was 25. I always traveled a lot, but um, I love Germany for a lot of things, but it never felt like home to me. Like I couldn't quite identify with the culture as much as I wanted to, and I always felt like I was a bit of a weirdo out there. So I
I mean, you
decided
did
to leave my
cycle 800
country when
k's.
I yeah.
I'm joking. I'm fucking with
This is anyways, I always felt weird and I thought, maybe I should just find myself a home. And then I just felt really happy when I was in Spain. And then I decided, hey, I want more of that happiness. And then I moved here. And it did truly feel like home for a long time, for like 2 years that I'm living here now. And I'm very happy to be here, but I start being unattached again,
you. Yeah.
if that makes sense. Like I feel like if you leave something, you always have everything always comes with a little sacrifice. Like I will forever miss what I no longer have from Germany, but I'll also forever appreciate what I have where I am right now.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like those feelings coexist, and it's hard to say what home actually is. I think it's the place that make it's the place that makes you happy for as long as you're happy there. So maybe home is actually not a forever. Maybe home is something that's just for a short period of time or a longer period of time.
Do you think it's a place?
Yeah, maybe for a while.
Hmm.
But I think the place for me is not just it's not just buildings or a city. It's the vibes and the people around it.
Yeah.
Um, and the friends that you have, like how safe you feel in your human relationships, like all of this. If you feel connected, like if you know there are people around me that have similar values, or we even do the same sports, or all of us
Yeah.
like sports, like something that makes you feel like you are part of something.
Makes you feel like you're part of something more, right? Like it's that ever looming sense of belonging.
Uh, yeah, exactly. It makes you feel like you're perfect the way you are.
Now that's something that everybody struggles with, or at least has struggled with in the past. Oh, maybe I need to slightly alter myself so I can fit in, or maybe I'm in the wrong, maybe I'm the villain or whatever it is, right? And I always think about an old friend of mine. Uh, he mentioned a concept in passing, and I think about it quite a lot. I think about it probably more than I should. Probably daydreaming about this concept when I should be working, but whatever.
What did he say?
He said, he was from Scotland, and I'm from the northern part of the UK, northern part of England, Manchester, and we're both talking down in Christchurch, both talking about home and being away from home, and what we're really talking about is being away from familiarity. Because if we went home, it wouldn't be home. If we went back to the city we're from, it wouldn't be home because we've changed, right? We left. And he goes, yeah,
Yeah,
it's like we've become men with no flags. And I think about it a lot of just like, yeah, I think that is my goal. I think my goal is to never forget where I came from. Like, because it's a huge part of who I am and it will always be a huge part of who I am. But it's also to transcend it, to allow myself to change and
yeah.
kind of become that man with no flag and be like, yeah,
I can tell you, you will never forget where you're from. Like, I could not 100% identify with the German culture. And I always thought, oh, maybe I'm not German enough. And I wasn't. The truth is, I'm still not. I still kind of stick out. And when I came to Spain,
yeah.
since I'm here, I've always been the German. I have so many things about me that are so typical for the country where I was raised.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, who am I even?
And that's that question, right? Who am I? And
Yeah,
I think we've forgotten about that question. You read meditations, Marcus Aurelius, you read these old books, 2000 years, 5,000 years, fucking 500 years. It doesn't matter. The questions remain the same. They're trying to figure out who they are and their place in the universe, right? And their purpose.
yeah,
And it seems like now, I don't know if you get this, but when you talk to a lot of folk, they don't know who they are. They don't know what they want.
yeah.
But the only thing that they're interested in about is somehow getting through their 9 to 5 workday and then getting a nice little high or drunk on the weekend. And then they're just going to rinse and repeat. And I don't know about you, mate. Well, I can definitely guess about you cycling, buddy, 800 Ks. But that makes me feel all types of alienated. I'm like, what are we doing here, guys? That doesn't make any
Yes.
sense. We're kind of asleep. We're in this half
I
half dazed state.
I often hear people saying, "Oh, well, weren't you scared to go to Girona to just ride your bike and
Yeah.
work as a content creator, or just weren't you scared to just do all these things? And I have to say, I'm way more scared to be in an office job, 9 to 5, that I don't like. I think it's so much harder to drag yourself out of bed in the morning and do something that you're not passionate about. It's okay if it's okay. Like, I know there are people out here who love routines. They love their 9 to 5 job and they generally really are happy with what they're doing. We are all different, but I think there's so many people out here who just don't fit in the stereotype and who still do what they are not 100% enjoying. And I think this is the worst thing that anybody can do to themselves, not giving yourself the chance to reach the biggest amount of happiness possible. And for me, this is my driving force in life. I am chasing happiness. I mean, I'm very much aware that sometimes I have to do things that don't give me a lot of happiness, or life gives me another lesson.
Yeah. Yeah.
But overall, I think we need to go for what makes us happy at all times. And this can also be scary, but that doesn't mean that it's something bad to also feel scared of what you're doing. Like, feelings can coexist. It's not all black and white.
Not all black and white. Yes, miss. For sure. It is not all black and white. And a lot of the time I'll speak to people back home. Aren't you scared about the unknown? Aren't you scared about change and whatever? I was like, not as scared as I am about things staying the same. And
Yes.
I think everyone's got to, I wrote something down on that because I think um I think everyone's running away from something. Others just cover it up by running towards something else. And it's that ever longing interaction with the question, what's missing? Who am I? Where am I going? What's my purpose? What's the point? Where are we going?
Yes.
All these
I've been
things.
thinking about that so much.
I think that's what we're supposed to do, I really do. I think that's what we're supposed to do with ourselves, and then surround yourself with like-minded and contrast thinking people. So then we can mold ourselves and we can slowly change.
You know
It's
what
the
they call
earnest
people
step.
like us?
Sorry, mate.
Overthinkers.
Thinkers, yeah. We got an English term for people like that. They're called wankers.
Well,
Oh fuck! Sorry.
like, no,
Talking
I'm the
shit.
same. Like, where sometimes we're just going with your thoughts. It's, it's just insane. You just go and go and go, and you're like, you want to know the answer to everything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I feel like sometimes we don't need to know the answer, and it doesn't actually matter. Why are we here? I don't know, but it's great. It's awesome we're here. It's wonderful we're on this planet.
100%.
Yeah.
And if we never find that answer, we never arrive at the gates of friggin' meaning, no problem. But at least we've had a rad story to tell on the way there. It doesn't mean we're going to stop
Exactly,
the
yeah.
journey to try and get there. It's like, no, 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 no. Like, I think about Emmeline Pankhurst, right? The lady suffragette
Uh-huh.
from Manchester. She ended up chucking herself in front of the King's horse, sparked the whole suffragette movement. Absolute legend. There's a statue over in the middle of Manchester. Like, I fucking love this chick to pieces. And a famous quote is, "I'd rather be a rebel than a slave." And that is
Yes.
my fucking all-time favorite quote. I'm like, you know what, mate? You are a badass chick, and 100%. You know, if I'm supposed to just follow blindly, I was like, see you later, guys. Like, I'm gonna go for a bit of a walk. I'm gonna see how long it takes me to walk from New Zealand to the UK. And they'll be like, what the fuck are you doing? I was like, I'll see you when I get there. See you in about 5 years. I come back with like long hair, like a massive, like fucking blonde or ginger beard or something. Like, what happened to you, dude? I was like, I went for a walk.
Went for a walk.
But I think it's necessary for some folk. Others just like doing their
Yeah,
thing and no problem. But yeah,
exactly. To just
you've you've sparked my brain
sometimes
now.
you can have it in the slip.
I'm thinking about the next
Yeah.
adventure, you sod. This is not good.
Well, I'm always planning new adventures all the time. Like whenever you come back from an adventure, it kind of feels like every time I finish one, I'm like, but what's next?
What's next?
Like it leaves me feeling so full at the same time so empty.
Yeah.
So I'm immediately planning something else. I've planned another loop from like I've never spent much time in Western Europe, so I just planned a route from Rijeka to Istanbul along the coast.
Oh, bloody hell.
And I hope I'll find time to do that next year.
I mean, that's pretty far, but I'd love to hear about the lessons you learn along the way, mate. Maybe you start going south towards Thailand and I'll meet you in the middle. Like, what are you doing? It's like,
Yeah.
I'm going north. Just, I'm following it until the road ends, and then I'll know where I'm going
I'm
next.
recording my podcast remotely.
Yeah. Yeah. People don't know, but I've recorded this thing in about 30, 35 different locations. It's,
Why don't you just do it? I love that. I'm loving the story.
yeah, I'm just fucking dotting around, you know. I'll do my thing. I'll pop up. I'll knock on for a brew, you know. I'll come see you. How you doing? You all right? Yeah, cool. See you later. And that's it. But mate, this has been an honor and a privilege. Thank you so much, and good luck on the next adventure. We'll speak
Thank you.
soon. And honestly, mate, this has
Yeah,
been a privilege. Thank you.
thank you. It was a lot of fun to talk to you. You're really good at like keeping a conversation going.
Oh no, I just talk shit. Don't worry about
You're a natural podcast
that.
recorder.
I'll give over.
No, you are. Be professional. Really
Oh,
good.
definitely
Really
not
good at what you're
professional,
doing.
but we're still talking. But we're talking shit.